Hello students. So in today's lecture we'll be discussing about finding the load carrying capacity of piles in both cohesionless as well as cohesive soils as per the IS standards. So before going to that sections, let us see here the advantages and disadvantages of displacement piles. So I already explained in previous classes what are the advantages and what are the various methods of construction of pile. So first one is the driven pile or the displacement pile, and the second one is the board cast in situ pile or the non-displacement pile. So just go through these advantages and disadvantages. It's very simple and usually asked for exams. So just go through the advantages and disadvantages of the displacement pile or the driven pile, and then the non-displacement pile or the board piles. So now let us move on to finding the pile capacities. So usually there are two approaches to determine the capacity of pile. So first one is the static approach, that is we use the solid mechanics background, and also we take the soil parameters to find the load carrying capacity of the pile. The second approach is the dynamic approach, where the load capacity of driven piles is taken for the analysis. So in both the cases we need to assure that the pile is safe by carrying the pile load test. So in detail we will go through the pile load testing and all, but in today's session we will be just dealing with the determination of pile capacities. So this allowable load is then derived by finding the factor of safety, and usually it ranges from 2 to 3 depending on the level of confidence in the loading data. So now let us move on to the static capacity of piles. So the IS code used for finding the static capacity of pile is IS 2911, and you have the standard for both board cast in situ pile as well as for the driven pile. The equations are all generally the same, but the bearing capacities factors and all, and the various constants used in the equations vary according to the type of the pile construction. So now moving on to the pile capacity in granular soil. So the load carrying capacity in granular soil is given by the equation here. This is the equation for finding the load carrying capacity in granular soil, and it is denoted as QU, which indicates the ultimate load carrying capacity. So here in this equation, the first term indicates the end bearing resistance and the second term indicates the skin friction resistance. So already in the previous lecture I explained about the end bearing resistance and the skin friction resistance. What is end bearing resistance? End bearing resistance means the entire load, means the capacity taken by the pile tip, and the skin friction resistance is the resistance offered by the surface of the pile, or there is an interaction between the surface of the pile as well as the soil. So whatever frictional resistance is offered, that is called the skin friction resistance. So now moving on to the terms in this equation, you must be very careful about each and every term in the equation before solving such questions. So generally both type of problems are asked. Either you need to find the capacity of pile in a granular soil or in a cohesive soil. So we will discuss both the terms in detail. So this term, the first term, which indicates the end bearing resistance, is AP into half D gamma N gamma plus PD NQ, and we very well know that N gamma and NQ are the bearing capacity factors. Plus this is actually the surface, the frictional resistance, that is it depends on the pile surface. So also the soil layers, if they change, accordingly this term will change. That is why here you are making the summation from I equal to 1 to n. That means if you are dealing with multiple layer soil, then this term for each layer soil you have to find the different K, PD, tan delta, ASI, etc. As far as exam point of view, only one particular layer you will be dealing with. You need not study in detail for various layers. Such complicated questions will not be asked for exams. So now let us go according to the various terms. So first one is AP. So AP is the cross-sectional area of the pile tip in meter square. That means what is the area? So if you are dealing with a circular pile, it is the area of a circle. If you are dealing with a square pile, then it is the area of that square. Now D is the diameter of the pile shaft in meter. So if you are dealing with a circular pile, it is the diameter, but if you are dealing with a square pile, then you have to go with the width of the pile. Now gamma is the effective unit weight of the soil at the pile tip, which is given in kilonewton per meter cube. That is the weight of the soil. So we are taking the effective weight. That means if the pile is completely submerged, in that case you have to go for the gamma dash. That means even if you are given the saturated weight, you have to go for the gamma dash for the worst case scenario. So if in question it is said that the water table is up to the ground level, or it is also said that the pile is constructed in the submerged condition, then instead of gamma, if gamma is given as some 17 or 18, you have to take the gamma dash, that is 17 minus 9.81 or roughly 17 minus 10. Now N gamma and Q are the bearing capacity factors. You can either find it from the code or for exam it will be given, but usually we find it from the code for a given phi value. Now PD is the effective overburden pressure at the pile tip in kilonewton per meter square. So how you will find the effective overburden pressure? It is already mentioned here. You need to refer to note 5 of the IS code. I will also explain that. Now how the summation is done, already explained in which pile is installed and which contribute to positive skin friction. That means I will discuss what is positive skin friction and negative skin friction in next class. So the summation for the second term, why we are taking, because we are dealing with multi-layer soil in the field. Now coefficient of earth pressure applicable for ith layer, that means you are dealing with each and every layer, so that coefficient also you have to consider, which is Ki, and that is as per note 3 of the IS code. I will explain these notes in detail after this terminologies are explained. Then comes the next term, it is the PDI, that is the effective overburden pressure for the ith layer. Effective overburden pressure part I will explain to you. Then the delta, angle of wall friction between the pile and the soil, it is the phi itself. Alpha is taken as phi. That also I will explain how you have to take that. Sorry, it is not alpha, it is delta. How delta is taken. Then ASI is the surface area of the pile for ith layer, obviously, if you are dealing with multi-layer soil. Now the important notes, let us see. So here N gamma and NQ, you need to take it from the code corresponding to a given phi value. There is a separate figure for that. So N gamma is generally taken for general shear failure case according to IS 6403, and NQ, it depends on the nature of the soil, type of the pile, the L by B ratio, the method of construction, and the value is different for driven pile as well as for bored pile. So here I will show you the figure of both the driven pile and bored pile. So how will you take the bearing capacity factor NQ for a driven pile as well as for a bored pile? And also there is another figure for N gamma, similar figure, where you find the N gamma corresponding to the angle of internal friction. But here I am just showing you how this NQ value will change for a driven pile and for a bored pile. Now moving back to the K value, the pressure coefficient, it depends on the nature of soil strata, type of the pile, spacing of the pile, and its method of construction. So if you are drying the pile in a loose to dense sand, the phi value may let it be vary from 30 to 40 degree. Then this K value will range from 1 to 2. So if you are constructing the pile in a dense sand, definitely the K value is 2. If you are constructing it in a very loose sand, then it will be K will be 1. Next is delta, the angle of wall friction. It is generally equal to the friction angle around the soil around the pile stem. So whichever soil you are encountering in the field, the phi value of that soil is taken as delta itself. Now another thing is finding the effective overburden at the pile tip for a critical. So which depth you will take as the effective overburden pressure, or to which depth it will vary. You know that on the surface, on the ground level, the stress is 0. So as you go down, the stress will keep on increasing, but to which depth you will increase that effective overburden, and after that from which depth you will consider a constant overburden. So here in the figure you can see up to 15D or 20D, D is the diameter of the pile, you have to consider the effective overburden. After that, that overburden will be constant. So till this depth your overburden is increasing like this, linearly increasing, and after that the overburden is constant. So what we generally do is, if you are constructing a pile till 15D or 2D, the overburden we take the half of this value. That means this maximum value you have here, we take the half of the value considering this triangular portion, and from this portion we take the complete overburden value. I'll explain this in detail while we are solving the problems. So here the overburden is 15 times it's generally taken for angle of internal friction less than 30 degree, and 20 times for angle of internal friction up to 40 degree or even greater than 40 degree. Now if the piles are passing through cohesive strata and then terminate in the granular strata, then a penetration of at least twice the diameter of pile shaft should be given into the granular strata. So that is a general guideline given by the IS 2911. All these aspects will definitely cover while solving the equations, so problems. So now let us discuss a problem of a pile in a cohesionless soil deposit. So here is the question. A 15 meter long 400 mm dia pile is driven in a uniform deposit of sand, and the phi value of the sand is 40 degree. The water table is at a great depth. That means the pile is not affected by water table. The question, you must be very careful about such phrases. Water table is at a great depth means this pile is not affected by water table. You need not consider water table. Gamma is 18 kN per meter cube. Calculate the safe load carrying capacity of the pile with a factor of safety of 2.5. So here you know the ultimate load, it is actually the combination of the end bearing resistance and the frictional resistance. So here in this equation, let QU be the ultimate load and QUP is the end bearing resistance and QS is the frictional resistance. Let us consider like that. So you know what is QUP. The equation is QNQ plus 0.5 gamma DNQ into AP, and when you are considering a driven pile, this particular second term here in QUP is negligible. So instead of this, you can directly take QNQ AP, or even for the exam point of view, even if you don't consider this particular term, this second term, that is 0.5 gamma DN gamma, while finding the end bearing resistance, you will get 4 marks if you consider only QNQ into AP. So now here we have the phi value is 40 degrees. So the end bearing resistance it's up to 20D as per the code. So that means not the end bearing resistance, the effective overburden. Sorry, the effective overburden is up to 20D. That means if D is the diameter of the pile, here it is 400 mm. So you have the effective overburden is up to 8 meter. So here up to here you have the effective overburden, and then this will be a constant value. So based on that you have to find the capacity. So now how will you find Q? Q is the depth. This Q is 18 into 18 is the weight and 8 is the depth. So you have Q as 144 kilonewton per meter square. So that is the effective overburden you are taking for the pile tip. So this value, this 144, it will continue up to the bottom. Okay. So QUP is Q into NQ into AP. So we have the effective overburden Q as 144 into NQ for a given phi value of 40 degree from this graph. from this graph, this is for board pile. You can get from the graph for 40 it is around 125 here, like this. So you have the value 125. Don't worry, exam point of view, such values, all the constant values will be given. So increase 125, then you find QUP as 144 into 125 into the area. The area is area of the pile tip, that is the area of the circle. Here it is a 400 mm diapile, so pi d square by 4, that is the area you have here. So you have the end bearing resistance as 2262 kilonewton. Now how will you find the frictional resistance? So to find the frictional resistance, that is this term QS, the equation already I have explained is KQ tan delta into ASI. ASI is the surface area of the pile. Delta, it is 40 degree, here you are taking it as phi itself. K, as it is a dense sand, you take the value of K as 2, as mentioned in this note. See here, for driven piles in loose to dense sand with phi varying between 30 degree and 40 degree, Ki values is in the range of 1 to 2. So here, as the phi is 40 degree, the K value is 2. So here what you have to consider, or what you have to take care of, is this end bearing, this effective overburden. So this effective overburden is keeping on increasing up to a depth of 20D, and after that it is constant. So the total pile length is 15 meter. So up to 8 meter it is keeping on increasing, and then after 8 meter it is constant value. So for this 8 meter depth, you have to take the average value of the effective overburden, that is 144 by 2 you have to consider instead of 144, because see the triangular variation here. So you can't consider 144 for the entire depth. So just go for the average value, that is half of that value, 144 by 2. And from here to here, after 8 meter till 15 meter or even below, the effective overburden will be the same, that is 144 itself. So you have to calculate it in two parts. So for 0 to 8 meter, it is QS1, that is K you are taking to this effective overburden, you are taking the half value, tan delta, that's tan 40 into the surface area, pi d into depth. Pi into diameter is 0.4 and depth is 8. So you get the frictional resistance for 0 to 8 meter. Then while finding the frictional resistance for 8 to 15 meter, you have to find it as 2 into 144 into tan delta into pi into 0.4 into 7, where 7 is the remaining depth. And here you can see that overburden taken is 144 because it is a constant value from 8 meter, that is up to this it is 8 meter. So after that from this 8 to 15 meter it is 144 only. See, so this you must be very careful, because here the overburden is at an increasing stage, slowly it is increasing, and this effect is up to this value. Again, you can't go with the increasing trend, because that is how it is designed, because in order for a safer side we are taking the variation of Q like this, because as you go for a large depth you will have a very high effective overburden, and you cannot overestimate the design. So hope you got that point. If you have any doubt you can ask me. So that is how you find the friction resistance. Now the ultimate load QU is the end bearing resistance plus the friction resistance. You have it as 5602.5 kilonewton, and the safe load, I am denoting it as QA here. That safe load is this ultimate load divided by the factor of safety, that is 5602.5 by 2.5, which is 2241 kilonewton. So this is an important question usually asked for exam, to find the pile load capacity for pile in cohesionless soil. Usually asked for up to 10 marks. So that is all about the piles in cohesionless soils. Now let us deal with the next case, that is the piles in cohesive soils. So here in this case, the equation is given as QU is equal to AP NC CP plus alpha ICI ASI summation I2 I equal to 1 to N. So here again, similar to previous case, this is the term 1 is the end bearing resistance and term 2 is the frictional resistance. So here we have a new term called alpha, which is the reduction factor. So I will explain what is the reduction factor. So let us familiarize with the terms in this equation. So here AP, as in the previous case, it is the cross-sectional area of the pile tip, NC is the bearing capacity factor, and here you have to take NCS9 in cohesive soils. Now Cp and Ci are the average cohesion, undrained cohesion of the clay. Cp is the cohesion at the tip and Ci is the cohesion for the ith layer. So here again, if you are dealing with multi-layer soil, multi-layer clay soils, that means you have various properties of clay. So you will be having different cohesion for the pile tip as well as the soils encountering at various depth. That is why we are taking Cp as another cohesion for the pile tip and Ci as the cohesion for the ith layer. Exam point of view, you will be given the question for a single clay layer. So Cp and Ci you can take it as the same. The cohesion, if it is given, the same value can be adopted for Cp as well as Ci. So you don't get confused with that. So summation, already I told you why the summation is taken. Now adhesion factor, I will explain what is adhesion factor. Here instead of the K value in previous case, the bearing capacity factor, we are taking it as the pressure coefficient in previous case for sand or cohesionless soil. Here we are taking the adhesion factor for clay soil. And ASI is as in the previous case, it is the surface area of the pile. So this adhesion factor, it actually depends on the undrained shear strength of the clay, and you can see here if the undrained shear strength is keeping on increasing, here in this graph you can see this is the graph given in code IS2911. If this undrained cohesion is keeping on increasing, then this adhesion factor is decreasing. That means for a high Cu value, you have the adhesion factor as low as 0.2 something, but for Cu of 40 you have adhesion factor of 1. So adhesion factor, as the undrained shear strength is increasing, the adhesion factor will decrease. Now moving on to another question related to pile in cohesive soils. So here let's go through this question. This is a university question. A square concrete pile 400 mm by 400 mm, so it is a square pile now, is proposed to be installed in a homogeneous clay stratum. Unconfined compressive strength is given as 100 kPa. Unit weight of soil is 18 kN per meter cube. Adhesion factor is 0.4. To carry a self load or safe load of 233 kN with a factor of safety of 2.5 against shear failure, design the required length of the pile. So here the capacity of the pile is already given, and you need to find the length of the pile. You know the area of the pile. So here in this question, it is already mentioned that it is a clay soil. It is homogeneous clay soil. That means for the entire depth you have the same clay. So homogeneous clay strata means you have the same clay for the entire depth. Now unconfined compressive strength is given 100 kPa. So how will you find the cohesion here? So as studied in the previous semester, you know that the unconfined compressive strength is Q, which is 100 kPa here, and to find the cohesion it is Q by 2. Half of the unconfined compressive strength will give you the undrained shear strength or Cu. So here see here Cp and Ci you compute from the usage value, that is Q is given, so the cohesion is Q by 2, which is 50 kPa. So here as it is a homogeneous soil, both Cp and Ci will be same, so you can take it as 50 kPa. Now how will you find the area of the pile? That is 400 by 400 mm, so you have 0.4 by 0.4. I have taken it in meters, so it is 0.16 meter square. Now NC already you know it is 9, so C you have found it as 50, so you find the end bearing resistance as 0.16 into 9 into 50, which is 72 kilonewton. So that is quite easy. Now how will you find the second term, that is the frictional resistance? So already in this question the adhesion factor is given. Adhesion factor alpha is equal to 0.4. Now area of the pile shaft, surface area of the pile shaft, ASI you find out. It is the perimeter of the pile into the length of the pile. So here you have a square pile, so perimeter will be the side into 4. So 4 times side, that is 4 into 0.4 into length of pile L. So what will be the second term? It is adhesion factor alpha into C, which is 50, alpha is 0.4, then the ASI, that is 4 into 0.4 into L, which you get as 32L. So the ultimate load here is 72 plus 32L, now which is given here in the question as 233 kilonewton. So what is the, but in the question it is they have given the safe load and they have also given the factor of safety. So how will you find the ultimate load? It is a safe load into the factor of safety. So safe load is 233 multiplied with factor of safety, you get 582.5 kilonewton. So you have the ultimate load. Now how will you find the length? Just equate this with this. You get length of pile as 15.95 and approximately take it as higher side always, round it off to 16 meter. So that is the length of the pile. So these are the two major types of problem coming from this particular section, that is to find the pile capacity based on the static approach. One is for a cohesive soil and another one is for cohesionless soil. So if you have any doubt regarding these problems, you can ask me. Okay, so in the next class we will deal with the pile capacity based on the dynamic approach. Okay, thank you.